Hello there everyone, Lars here with another Writer's Rant, brought to you by Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers. Because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends. And today I'm going to rant about the thing that authors don't tell you at the onset of your writing adventure. And indeed, you might not have heard them bring up any of these things at any point in time. But I have learned that these next 5 tidbits of advice are crucial to your happiness and progress as an author. Each of the 5 points are incredibly important to your development as a writer, but I will say that point number 5 is the most important, and because I don't want you to just check out after hearing the most important one, I am not putting it at the very beginning of the video, but instead at the very end. So you have to watch all of the video to get to the good stuff. Yeah, look at me being smart. Alright. Here is the first thing that you won't hear from other authors. Tidbit number 1. Stay healthy. Yep, keep yourself in good health. Make sure that you are getting an adequate amount of sleep. And don't just say that 3 hours is enough to get you by. Trust me, that won't always be the case. And make sure that you eat a balanced diet. Sorry, but ramen and sugars will not sustain you forever. Get some fruit into you. Eat those greens on your plate, dang it! Drink more water, and do your wallet and waistline a favor by not eating out every other day of the week. So get outside, do some stretches, go for a walk, run, pump some iron! Do something that gets your blood pumping aside from watching horror films and getting in and out of your seat, whether that seat be in your bed, on the couch, or a hard-backed wooden stool. Trust me, you don't want to risk potential heart disease by just sitting around all day, or embrace the dreaded Rothfuss 30, or the Sanderson 60, or worse yet still, the Martin 100. But joking aside, the lifestyle of an author doesn't make for a healthy one unless you make it a point to keep yourself healthy. And why should you do that in the first place? Well, quite simple, because taking care of yourself keeps you happy, and it keeps you productive, and it gives you much needed breaks as you write. And healthy people don't deter others as they embrace my second bit of advice that other authors don't give you. And that second bit of advice is learn to share your stories. Sure, plenty of authors like to talk about how you can pitch your stories to agents, publishers, and your potential reader base, but might I suggest taking it to the next step, taking it to the next level, and it will give you a leg up on the competition by leaps and bounds. Get into the habit of sharing your stories and the fact that you are a writer more often than you already do. Yes, this can be super awkward and uncomfortable at first, but you can be the exception that shatters those misconceptions. Granted, we writers are weird and we can be pretty awkward, but that doesn't mean that we can't be awesome people and friends, right? Also, consider this. Have you ever met another aspiring writer, and when you ask them what they're doing, they suddenly become really strange, either deflecting the question saying that their work isn't ready and that they just can't share it yet, or they word vomit all over the room and tell you literally everything about their book? I'm sure you've been there. We've all been there! This will be you at the beginning of when you start putting this bit of advice into practice. However, you can conquer it. The more you share with others, the better and smarter you'll get. Soon you'll be able to deliver captivating lines about your plots and the characters while carrying yourself with confidence and energy and not giving away too much at the onset. You will also find that there are people that you can now start sharing more of your stories with, that you can share physical drafts of your stories with, because you need these extra eyes to help you find the weaknesses in your stories and make them the best they can be. Sharing is essential to being a good author. Now, my third bit of advice is a little more serious. Burnout is real. We as authors often fear writer's block or our inability to find motivation, and so as a result we often neglect the very real possibility of burnout. The solution to writer's block is actually very simple, and I've tackled it in an earlier video. But succinctly put, you just have to go out and ask questions. Questions break the block. And to conquer motivation issues, get yourself friends or a writing group who will help you to set goals and have rewards or punishments, like either eating an ice cream sandwich for doing your writing or getting said ice cream sandwich crammed into your face because you failed. But burnout comes when you've sat down and written 5,000 plus words in just one day. You feel so good! But after sitting down for hours, your back and butt feel sore, your hands are tired, and your mind turns to mush as you happily think about how far you got. And then 3 days have passed by, and you find that you haven't written anything else. And you wonder how you can find that same energy as before in order to replicate that wonderful 5,000 plus word day. I have met so many writers who do this to themselves, and it's sad. They manage to have 1 or 2 grandiose days, and then they struggle for a month. You need to pace yourself. Make reasonable time and goals to write, but don't make them too grand, and neither should you make them too small. Work to find your happy medium and work within it. Eventually, you'll learn to push yourself, but first figure out how to set up a happy writing regiment that works within your skill set and schedule. This is how you avoid burnout. Now, my 4th bit of advice is very personal. Your stories need you, and you need your stories. We have emphasized on the podcast and here on the channel how the world needs your stories, and that is why you should write, but it honestly goes even deeper than that. You see, we all dream, and we all create. These qualities are essential to us being human, and to us being happy, and to us progressing in this life, and connecting with other people out there, and so much more. But I have seen so many people stop dreaming and willfully throw away their ability to create. And shortly follows thereafter a bad streak of stupidity and the inability to see beyond the boxes that the world desires to sort us all into. But as a writer, you can free yourself of those constraints. As you write, you will find lives, freedoms, answers to your questions, friends, adventures, and more. And as you write, you give life to your dreams. As you create, you find these worlds and people, though they may be fictional, that they become important and take on a life that enriches your own. And if you're writing things like memoirs, poetry, or nonfiction, the results are actually the same. For example, when I did my master's degree for history, I was electrified to bring the stories of Japanese Americans after the Second World War to life. And I wanted to bring them to the forefront of everyone's thoughts because they were so incredible to me. They emboldened and empowered me. That is why you need your stories. And as you write, you'll see why your stories need you. Finally, and most importantly, this is my 5th bit of advice that no other author tells you. Go out and live your life. Not just because it helps you stay healthy, and not just because real-world experiences enrich our writing, but because you only get one life. Trust me, I spend a lot of time myself sitting down trying to bring massive worlds with dragon overlords to life, or worlds with steampunk wizards, or epic space battles, and the likes, and I get lost in those stories on a daily basis. But at the end of the day, though, there is nothing so sweet as spending time with my family out in their garden. I enjoy going camping or hiking, exploring new places, and learning new things. Out there, away from your keyboard and screen, someplace far away from your bed or seat, there are friends to be made, adventures to be had, loves to be won and lost, movies to be seen, secrets to be uncovered, animals to save, a world to explore. I'm not sure what your own life will look like at the end, but I hope it's an amazing one. However, you are the one in charge of that. It is up to you and no one else to get out there and live that incredible life that is awaiting you. It doesn't matter what challenges stand in your way. You are equal to them. In fact, you are even more than them. You can make the best of whatever hand you have been dealt. I believe in you. Now you might be saying, Lars, this has gone from writing advice to life advice, and that is not why I'm here. This is supposed to be a channel for writing and writers. Why are you telling me this stuff? Trust me, when you are living your best life, learning and experiencing more and more, you become excited to share that life with your stories. Your characters will go on sweeping adventures, much like the ones that you have had. They will share real relationships like you do. They will feel loss and defeat like you have. And they will feel the triumph of success just like you inevitably will. And that's what makes what you write have the power to motivate and change lives. The stories written by people who lived their lives are the ones that transform the world around us. That is why I always say that the world needs your stories, because you have so much to share from your own life. Please go out and live your own life. Make the most of it. Then come back to your screen and keyboard and make your stories blossom. I sincerely hope that these 5 points of advice will help you all to become better authors. And I can't wait to see what the future holds in store for all of you if you just follow these things that every author should be sharing. So please, let's make up for lost time. Share this video with other creators and encourage them. If you would like more writing advice and motivation, then please go check out our podcast, Camille's Harem, found on Podbean, iTunes, and Google Play. And you can also find writing exercises over at our Pinterest page and discussions on all different kinds of topics over at our subreddit. Please reach on out to us. We would love to hear from you. And thanks again for sharing this video. And until the next one, y'all, tschüss.